Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of StarClan Speaks, the very special side series where we do a character Q&A with the characters of our Sims 3 Warrior Cats challenge. You guys get to act as StarClan, the cat ancestors, asking the cats of our clans different questions that can be as personal as you would like that they might potentially answer in a future episode. Now remember, what the cats say in these episodes reflect the current plots and they reflect their current feelings, and nothing they say in the episodes has anything to do with the main plot. This is kind of just like a silly side adventure. It doesn't affect the main storyline in any way. It's just a great way for you guys to get to know the cats on a little bit more of a personal level, and a great way to have some fun with whatever questions you guys may have for our many amazing cats of the clans. So remember, if you guys have a question, you can ask it as a StarClan cat. You can leave a comment with your question, and you can describe the kind of cat who would be asking this question. That makes it a lot easier for me, actually, and it makes it really fun for you guys to be able to almost have your original characters sort of be able to speak up in our series. So don't be shy about doing that. And remember to upvote any questions that you would like answered. Usually the questions that will be answered in the next StarClan Speaks episode will be the one that you guys have liked the most and upvoted the most. And if I don't really see anything that has a lot of support, I sincerely just pick at random, depending on which character I feel like needs to speak up the loudest. So remember to do that. And then remember, if you guys would like to see more StarClan Speaks, this does take a ton of extra work. It's basically like having to spend an extra 2 hours writing and researching and doing all sorts of things. So if you would like to see more of these, if you could leave some likes and just support, then it would really help. And whenever I see like just this like bomb of likes, it makes me so excited that I want to do more of these, even though they're a ton of work for me behind the scenes. So just keep that in mind. If you really love them and you want to see more, there's ways to help Seri out so she has the energy to do them. And let's dive in, because we're going to be talking with two of the lady cats of Mossclan today, one of whom many of you guys have been pursuing for months. So without further ado, let's see how Honeywish is doing. The night had finally come when Honeywish knew she could no longer be able to escape. They were coming. She had run almost every night for months to try to escape their yowls and the endless stampede of paws chasing after her. Through the forest, across the moonlit fields, hiding under every bush and outcropping that she could find. And yet, finally, the night arrived when she knew they were going to catch up with her. The Starshippers were coming. Honeywish took a deep breath and turned to face them, her shoulders set and her paws placed firmly in front of her. Somehow, facing down the entire junkyard dog pack had not been as terrifying as this was, but it was finally time that she confronted the cats who had haunted her dreams for so many months. Life was moving on, after all, and she could only live with this never-ending chase from the curious StarClan cats for so long. Honeywish! Honeywish flinched as the crowd of cats broke through the bushes, their starry pelts rippling in the moonlight. Cries of Briarwish and Lionwish could be heard as cats rolled over one another, tumbling across the grass in front of the resigned, honey-colored deputy. A few cats batted at one another's ears in mutters of Crowwish and, "But what about Trout Shadow?" and wistful meows of Doewish rang out from every direction. With a deep sigh, Honeywish closed her eyes and lashed her tail. "All right!" she meowed, her voice cutting across the yelling babble. "I'm ready to answer your questions. Just promise me to stop chasing me." "But we love you, Honeywish," a thin white cat with light blue eyes yelled, her eyes sparkling. "You are simply the most shippable cat in the clans right now." "Yes, so you've told me in all my dreams for months now," Honeywish muttered, her tail lashing. "And I keep telling you, I have no idea what that means." "It means we can't wait to see your kittens," another StarClan cat yelled out, prompting a flurry of excited screams, and a fight as two extremely excited StarClan cats began batting at one another over the possible names for Honeywish's future kits. There was a loud yowl, and finally a deep ginger she-cat pushed her way forward from the crowd, shooting quieting glares at the cats surrounding her. She coughed politely and faced Honeywish, a smile on her face. "Hello, dear Honeywish," she purred. "My name is Rosewish." She dipped her head, and the cats around her quieted out of respect for one of their elders. "I have a question. If you were ever interested in kits, who would you wish to be your mate?" There was an excited flurry of whispers, but several cats shushed one another, and Honeywish found herself the center of their rather intense attention. Kits, right. Honeywish shifted from paw to paw, sighing. She had known these questions were coming, but still. Jeez, how nosy. She wiggled, her fur feeling hot. I mean, it isn't like I'm opposed to the idea of kits. I haven't been that interested in them before now, but I've been very proud to focus on being a good deputy for StarClan, not to mention getting used to living here in the wild. I mean, it takes a lot to survive here, but I've learned to sharpen my claws and improve my hunting skills, so I'm confident we'll be able to survive now. Honeywish sighed, staring at the stars above her. And then, well, Robin Kit and Red Kit are really... Honeywish lashed her tail, annoyed. Well, alright, they're cute. And since they've needed more help than usual lately, since Mossleaf is... well... Honeywish shook her head, sighing. I've gotten used to having them around. I wasn't that close to Oak Paw or Lizard Paw when they were kits, but Robin Kit is so sweet, and Red Kit is so... well, just... he's cuddly, okay? His belly is so fat most of the time that he's super soft, and it's fun when he falls asleep against my side. So, it has made me think that it is, even with all the things that have happened to the clan recently. Honeywish sighed, her expression growing serious. No, perhaps because of what has happened in the clan, seeing everyone's life at risk, maybe I'm just being rabbit-brained, but suddenly, I realize I want to live fully, right now, not later. Kits were always sometime for later, but then the meteor showed up and I realized there was something I really wanted, more than anything else, and that was to see him live on, see his kids. Honeywish quieted, suddenly extremely aware of her audience, some of whom almost seemed to be teary-eyed with emotion, staring at her. She froze stock still, and her fur felt like it was suddenly on fire, words no longer coming into her mind. A mate who is good with kits and a kind heart. I realized I wanted him to be the father of my... Honeywish lowered her head, too embarrassed to speak further. Finally, the cats before her couldn't take it any longer. Honeywish, who is he? Who is it that you want to be the father of your kits? A voice rang out, breaking the spell of silence. Cats began murmuring frantically to one another, too excited to sit still, and Honeywish lashed her tail, the sheer overwhelming noise of the fighting StarClan cats almost sweeping her off her feet. It has to be Lionstar. He is her first love. He should have loved her, not Mossleaf. No, Trout Shadow, don't you remember his sweet confession? That Tom claims to love every female within the valley. I'm telling you, it's Crowfeather. Briarwish! 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 The voices were ringing out throughout the clearing, shattering the calm that had settled as Honeywish spoke. Enough! Honeywish yowled, her sides heaving as she stared at the StarClan cats. My heart is not a piece of prey to be fought over. It is mine. I make my own decisions. Maybe who I fall in love with won't satisfy your starry pelts, but accepting my heart as it is and loving myself for who I am right now is one of the most valuable things he has taught me. Honeywish snorted, trembling slightly as she faced down her sorry ancestors. As for who he is, you won't have to wait long to find out. I'm expecting his kits now. With that explosive declaration, Honeywish jumped off her perch and dashed into the forest of her dreams, grimly noting that the high-pitched screams of excitement and guesses exploding from behind her made the crashing meteors that had landed in Moss Camp sound like quiet raindrops in comparison. Across the forest of dreams, another group of StarClan cats lifted their heads, ears twitching at the sound of some terrifying creature yowling in the distance. A wise gray Tom nodded to himself and shrugged towards the other StarClan cats gathered with him. Sounds like they finally found Honeywish. A chubby tabby she-cat sighed softly and shook her head. I hope she makes it out alive, poor dear. With that, the StarClan cats, a much smaller group, turned their attention to the young cat before them. Squirreleap, the elderly white tomcat, smiled and nodded his head politely towards the young calico she-cat. If you don't mind us asking you some questions. Squirreleap shrugged, her calico pelt bright in the dream forest moonlight. She had been hunting a mouse in her dreams before being summoned by the StarClan cats and was in a good mood. Though, of course, like all the cats who came to the dream forest, she'd remembered none of this in the morning. Sure, What kind of questions do you have for me, ancestors? Well, let's start with something simple. The white tomcat meowed, his eyes sparkling with amusement. How about what happened to your tail? Why is it so short? Squirreleap blinked in surprise and jumped up, almost spinning in place as she turned to look at her tail. My tail? Oh, well, it has always been so short. I was born with it this way. Actually, shouldn't I be asking you why I was born with such a short tail? Doesn't StarClan determine some of those things? Not always. A spotted she-cat purred, her fur dappled almost like the cheetahs of legend. How about another question then? We have seen a name in your dreams, and we would like to know more about a specific cat. Who is Emberbriar? Squirreleap flinched and sat down suddenly, fidgeting in place and looking at her paws. Oh, you want to know about him, huh? The playful she-cat's voice was flat, and she sighed heavily. I thought I could finally put that behind me, but I guess even in my dreams that isn't true. How... Squirreleap glanced away, an angry expression on her face. How awful. Even all this time later, StarClan themselves has to know about this too. She sighed and lifted her head, staring at the stars as she spoke. Emberbriar was just a fling. I liked him for a while, and then I didn't. I know I told him it was more than that, but I just didn't want to hurt his feelings. And every time I tried to tell him I was bored of sharing tongues with him, he just looked so sad. Squirreleap sighed heavily and looked away into the forest, her shoulders sagging. I know running away from him like that was cruel, but I just didn't want to be mates with him anymore. It was just supposed to be for fun, and I didn't know he'd be so serious about it. Is that why you left the barn? A cat from the crowd meowed, her voice soft. Squirreleap gave a soft, broken laugh and nodded, her short tail wiggling behind her. Sorta, yeah. Crowfeather had heard of this group of cats in the forest who were living together, and we thought we'd go check it out. I didn't know what to expect, but it was a good way to, well, leave the barn, and well... Squirreleap forced a laugh, bouncing in place. Hey, I found Mossclan, and I may have made a lot of mistakes with Emberbriar, but I've become a different cat now. Squirreleap wiggled in place, glancing down. I mean, what's the point of thinking too hard about things? What's the harm of just having fun? All these cats always obsessed with thinking ahead, not living in the moment. Squirreleap trailed off, and the StarClan cats glanced nervously at one another. Finally, a blondish tan she-cat with gray-blue eyes stepped forward, her long tail swirling behind her. Squirreleap, I'm Cream Swirl. Why don't you tell us about your 3 favorite prey items? Squirreleap glanced up, her eyes lighting up at the escape from the hard questions. My favorite prey? That should be obvious. Squirreleap laughed and jumped in place, her calico pelt bright. Squirrels, fat squirrels, and really fat squirrels. With that, the she-cat laughed and jumped into the air, then darted away into the bushes, another night of odd dreams and StarClan cat questions completed. And there we go, you guys! So another StarClan Speaks has come to conclusion. So remember, if you guys would like to have some questions for either Mossclan or Branch Clan, leave the questions in the comments section below, and you can even leave a description about your original cat that you may want to speak the question for you, and then vote the questions up that you really like, and then we'll go through and we'll pick some of those top questions and make a new StarClan Speaks in the future. And yes, I do want to start having these far more regularly. I want to try to keep them kind of casual so that I can continue to bring them out a little bit faster, because the answers that our cats have will change depending on what goes on in the plot. The answer to who would you want the father of your kits to be, Honeywish, may have been very different before the meteor than it is now. So just keep that in mind, and remember that the cats aren't going to remember this, but yes, Honeywish's announcement is true. She is expecting kits, and we will be visiting Mossclan and looking into that after some of the drama with Crowfeather finishes up over in Branch Clan, not to mention Dawnstep's kits, which are totally another drama arc themselves. So thank you guys so much. Remember, I know it seems kind of short, but it actually takes a lot of time and effort to do this behind the scenes as well. So if you could leave some support, it will definitely help me feel charged to dive into the warrior cat stuff more often. I'm hoping to have something warriors related every single day of the week going forward. I don't know if I can always keep up with that, but that's my goal. And when you guys can really leave the likes and the kind comments and have decent discussions when it comes to shipping, nice discussions with each other in the comment section, it gives me so much energy. Nothing destroys my energy faster and makes me want to just chuck all of Warrior Cat's like challenge out the window than when people fight about shipping in the comments. It just makes me want to drop the whole thing because it's such a drain. Maybe when it's just like 1 or 2 people doing it and you guys think it's just the 2 of you, it doesn't seem like much, but don't forget, we get often up to 800, 900, 1,000 comments per Warrior Cats episode. So everything that the people say to each other that may not be nice, I see every single one of those comments, and it adds up to hundreds of nasty comments of people fighting each other. So don't do that, you guys. Just keep it fun, keep it happy, leave likes if you want to, leave support if you want to, and I can promise you that has a direct impact on how much warriors you see. It'll have a direct impact on if we start doing some behind the scenes little videos, if we'll do some alternative universe videos, if we'll do some little just movie skits once or twice a week, if we'll do more behind the pause where I can explain how we set everything up. All of that is directly impacted on how you guys behave in the comments. So just keep that in mind. Have a good time. Enjoy it. Ask your questions. Like I said, StarClan Speaks, I want to start getting these out a lot faster. And so when I see how excited you guys are about it, that makes it happen. So I hope you all are having a wonderful day. I hope I didn't just explode some of your worlds with the news that Honeywish is expecting kits. And I hope I have settled the question of Squirreleap's former mate once and for all. But if you want more details, go ahead and ask. Often the questions you guys ask ends up building their characters. So don't be shy. Leave your comments down below. Upvote the questions that you really want to see answers to. And I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.